the principals of the soccer franchise came in to see me, and they had indicated they were going to do that. They came to see me probably mid-February before they actually received the go-ahead on a franchise. The conversation we had then was, well, if you're successful and you get a franchise, come back and tell me what the plan is. So we talked some about what the economic impact of soccer would be, probably about 20 games in Minnesota a year, a stadium with about 18,500 seats in it, be built in Minneapolis. Their ask actually was, I would describe it as pretty modest when you compare it to other stadium proposals. They asked for a sales tax exemption on the construction of material. We've done that previously. We did it for the Twins, we did it for the Vikings. It was not done for some of the stadiums prior to that. And I don't know what the number is on that. I'm just going to guess $3 to $5 million of cost probably to the general fund. The other ask was they'd like to not pay property taxes. And there again, some stadiums do. The XL, I believe, does here in St. Paul. Target Field and the Viking Stadium are publicly owned, so they do not. I don't know what the number is of what property taxes on a facility like that would be. My guess is the value of it's probably not what the cost of it to build is. It's a single purpose facility, so if you built it and went to sell it for some other purpose, it probably doesn't have the value of what you have in it. So I don't know what the property tax impact would be, but there is a general fund cost to that ongoing permanently, because the state has a part of the property taxes paid on commercial and industrial property does go to the state's general fund. So there would be an ongoing cost to the general fund if the legislature were to exempt them from property taxes.
And that'd be in addition to the city and county general funds?
Yes. Yes. There wouldn't actually be a cost to the city and the county or the school district. There would be a redistribution. I mean, if you didn't collect property taxes on a parcel, other parcels in the city and the county actually end up paying more to offset the lost tax capacity. I actually suggested to them that they explore with the county the opportunity for potential tax abatement. There's a provision in law that allows counties, cities, and school districts to exempt property from property taxes. They don't need legislation to pursue that. I also suggested to them that they sit down with the county and the city and talk about tax increment financing. There are some current provisions in law for redevelopment and economic development districts that would not require, I'm sure this project would be eligible, that would not require any statutory changes.
Were you telling them that because you'd rather not do it here, if possible?
Well, I think it can actually be done, that the TIF or tax abatement can be done at the local level without the legislature. That's the reason that the legislature put those provisions in law, so that economic development can be done in cities and counties without having to come to the legislature every time they want to do a project.
What about the sales tax on construction?
Well, it's a general fund cost. I think that's a hard sell right. That's a hard sell right now. That would require legislation.
Could it possibly clear this legislative session, Mr. Leader?
I don't have a clue. I think it's unlikely. There's just a lot we don't know about the real economic impact of what soccer would be. I'm surprised that they're making this kind of an investment. I mean, it's a tremendous financial investment that those owners are making to bring soccer here. I mean, the franchise fee alone is pretty significant.
Well, would some sort of maybe a guarantee to the commissioner that it would be taken up next legislative session, would that be enough to maybe keep him from exploring other options? Did you get any indication of that?
No, and I'm not prepared to sign anything that we're going to do anything next year. I'm not sure we're going to have a session next year. The Speaker and I we've had conversations about whether there's a need for a session or not, and if we have one, how abbreviated it might be.
Was the Speaker in the meeting?
No, I believe the Speaker met with him at 3:15 this afternoon. They were meeting with him immediately after me, and I believe Major League Soccer is making some comments to the press corps about now, I was told. So
This is not, I mean, you even called this ask a modest request though in terms of stadiums. Does that ease the lift at all on this? Because it's, what, 3-5 million?
Well, I
You
think
gave
what's,
that to Baxter, didn't you?
I mean, I called it modest because they're not asking for actually a tax, some kind of a tax increase to help pay the debt service. Unlike the Viking situation where we did capture revenue, created a new version of electronic pull tabs in order new revenue to pay for the Vikings. And in the case of Target Field, we imposed a countywide sales tax. So the upside is they're not asking us to actually raise some new revenue to help pay for the debt service. So it's a different proposal, and I describe it as modest for that reason.
Did you get any indication that the pronouncements that you and Governor Dayton and others had made maybe changed the plan a little bit as they came to you again?
We didn't talk about that, but you know, I mean, I did reach out. I think, I mean, I reached out to the commissioner on the 6th of February and tried to give him just an honest lay of the land here in Minnesota, so that they didn't actually award a franchise here to some owners that were never going to be able to get a field built to play on. So, you know, it's still a heavy lift, and I think if the city and county don't support it, there's no path. So I think people are going to have to take the temperature of both the city and the county. I had that conversation with them. I think the mechanisms are currently in law, whether it's TIF or tax abatement, to accomplish much of what they'd like to accomplish.
The speaker said to the owners today, don't underestimate the stadium fatigue around here. Do you share that?
Oh yeah, no, I don't like it. I don't. I have a hard time visualizing a path right now to accomplish what they'd like to. They did not indicate to me that it had to happen this year. So, I mean, I think they realize these are smart guys, I mean, and women. They didn't get to be successful they are because they don't understand politics. And I think they understand that, you know, we're past the committee deadlines here, and we're locked down, pretty honed in on this, on the next 2-year state budget right now, and bringing in ancillary issues like this at the very end is pretty difficult to accomplish.
Did they give you a sense of what they would bring monetarily, people, anything about the case that they're making for this?
No, they didn't really have the numbers on the economic impact, although, you know, they talk about it being significant and good for youth soccer programs, and kind of to build kind of the additional, kind of another venue of the soccer fever, maybe to bring it to another level with the youth that are engaged in soccer. They talked some about the number of youth in the neighborhood of 75,000 kids every year are playing youth soccer, and it's growing. So, I mean, I appreciate the investment that they're making. They're making a tremendous investment on something that's probably not going to have a rate of return like developers normally expect, but I just think it's a heavy lift for this year.
What do they have to do to stay in play in the last 5 weeks if they think they have any chance of getting something?
Well, I don't know that. I don't know what the path would be. I don't see one. I guess first they'd probably have to find a bill author. I didn't tell them that. They didn't ask that. So, but I think that's probably where you start. And I don't have any suggestion on who that might be.
Not you?
Not me.
If a bill were to come forward and then they got the pieces maybe somehow with the city and the county at least rolling, would you be open to waiving the deadlines? Would you support that, you know, so it can move forward?
Well, I guess I reserve judgment there without having talked to the speaker. I think the speaker and I want to be on the same page on this, and I think we both think it's a pretty heavy lift this late in the session.
It seems like what you're saying, though, is that maybe it's a less heavy lift if they can do some of this stuff locally with the property tax.
That is what I asked them to do, is to meet with the city and meet with the county and see. I mean, if the city and county aren't willing to participate, this is not going to happen. Unless they just pay for it themselves. But the idea of property tax abatement is something, I mean, I'm not going to abate the property taxes without some support from the city and the county.
And did they make any suggestion that the stadium or this team won't be here if you don't act?
No.